This video is the second supplement to our demo of complete factor analysis that we showed, video 4.8. This is going to be using SPSS, and I'm going to tell you how to do factor analysis in SPSS. So what I already did is input the data here, just the values. If you go to variable view, you can change the names of the variables. That's how I got them to be verbal, math, and logic. They're originally string variables, and I just clicked there and changed them to numeric from string. So let's go back to data view. The point and click method in SPSS is pretty simple. What you do is, these instructions are on page 167 of your text, but just go to Analyze and Dimension Reduction and click Factor, and we're going to move all three of these factors, or these variables, over. Next we want to click Extraction. We want to make sure that the method is principal components. That's what we're doing. Make sure it says in Analyze, click Correlation Matrix, Display Unrotated Factor Solution. I also want to do a scree plot, and in Extract we're going to click Fixed Number of Factors. And how many factors do we want? We're doing 2, and then click Continue. It's going to go back to this screen. We next want to do rotation, the third button down, and we're going to do Varimax rotation. These are different kinds of rotations, but that should be good. And in the display box, make sure it says rotated solutions, and we're also going to do loading plots. Click Continue. In descriptives, if you want descriptives, you can. I'm going to click univariate descriptives. I also want, me personally, I want to look at significant levels and KMO and Bartlett's test of sphericity. It doesn't really matter. It's all based on what you want personally. So after we do that, we're going to click OK to run it. And SPSS will run your analysis. An output window like this is going to show up and give you with your results. It'll contain all the things that you've requested. A table and graph of rotated loadings, pre-rotation loadings, communalities, eigenvectors, and the descriptive stats that I requested. So let's make this bigger and take a look at it. So I've got descriptive stats, KMO, and Bartlett's test, which I requested. Also a correlation matrix. So a correlation matrix, as you recall, is a symmetric matrix, since these are the same, and the ones on the diagonals. And so we know that it didn't input that in SPSS. We also have our communalities here, and a total variance explained, which gives us our eigenvalues 1.97 and 0.887, the percent of variance that it explains. And we extracted 2 factors here, and also has the rotation sums of squared loadings. We move down, we have a scree plot. We can see if we're using the eigenvalue greater than 1 criterion, we would just have 1 factor. In this case, we're actually using 2 factors. And the most important tables in this output are the 2 sets of factor loadings, rotated and unrotated, which we have here. We have the component matrix, which is the unrotated, and the rotated component matrix, which is the rotated one, obviously. And we have the factor loadings. From these loadings, we can construct the factor analysis table. That's all we really need to construct it, with communalities and uniqueness and everything. One particularly useful graph included in this output is the plot of the vectors for verbal, math, and logic variables in the rotated 2D factor space, which is at the bottom here. This shows clearly that the spatial orientation of the variables to one another. When there are 3 factors, a 3D cube will display the location of each variable. So it's pretty cool stuff. You can see here once again that math loads really well on component 2, or factor 2, and verbal on component 1. Logic also does well on component 2 and a little bit on 1. This is after the rotation, so it's good to see that. If you go to the very top, you see the syntax. You can save the syntax for this analysis in a file for future use if you ever want to know what you did. What you do is we go through the same process: analyze, dimension reduction, factor, do the same process, and instead of clicking OK, we click paste. And a window labeled syntax 1 will appear with the listing of the command line code, which is this, which you can save to see what you did on SPSS to get this. But that is also, I'm going to exit out of here, but that's also at the very top here. So that's how you do factor analysis using SPSS. It's pretty neat. I like that it gives you a scree plot and the component plot in the rotated space. Gives you a lot of information, which is good. I hope this was beneficial to you. Have a good day.